for the pregame show at 6:45, followed by the first pitch at 7. The Hard Hat Battle of Stars Tuesday night, right here on Fox Sports Rapid City.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
Question. When you walk into the boardrooms of the most successful companies here in South Dakota, who do you meet? When you're working for a mover and shaker with strong ties to our community, who are they? When you encounter a group of people eager to roll up their sleeves, who are you most likely to work with? Answer. Men and women who played high school sports. Education-based high school sports give us more than athletes we can root for. They give us leaders we can depend on. Taking the initiative, being a good teammate, sacrificing personal glory for the greater good. These are qualities we expect of our leaders, and they're all being cultivated in the high schools right here in South Dakota. Question. So where will we find tomorrow's leaders? Answer. High school sports.
This message presented by the South Dakota High School Activities Association and the South Dakota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
Champions League semifinal. Inter Milan is moving on to the final with a 7-6 win over FC Barcelona on aggregate. They needed extra time to get the deciding goal, but Inter Milan with the victory today. High-scoring affair in the nation's capital. It's game one of a doubleheader between the Guardians and Nationals. Right now, the teams are tied up at 8 apiece, playing in the bottom of the 7th inning. Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty will not be racing in the Preakness Stakes a week from Saturday. It's the 4th time since 2018 the Derby winner will not race in the Preakness. Trainer Bill Mott says the plan is for Sovereignty to run in the Belmont in early June. Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, DeAndre Hunter questionable for the Cavs tonight against the Pacers in Game 2. Tipping at 7 Eastern. Warriors and Timberwolves will tip at 9:30 Eastern time, starting their series. And the Celtics say Sam Hauser is doubtful for Game 2 tomorrow against the Knicks with a sprained ankle. Kristaps Porzingis is probable. I'm Dan Byer.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, great interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
All right, here we go. Good Tuesday afternoon to you. Thanks for being here on a Tuesday on the Nate Brown Show, South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Radio. Let's do it live. Are you ready? I'm ready. 2 hours thought-provoking sports talk. It is always a great day in South Dakota. Say it with me. Welcome in. Let's have some fun today. Get you some good sports content, some great interviews across the board from South Dakota across the country. Let's get popping. South Dakota Sports Talk Show back on. Stream us there on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show. We're on the YouTube channel, The Nate Brown Show. Find us there. Also, subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate that. And then catch us on X every afternoon at Nate Brown Show on X. Follow the show. Answer our question of the day. Interact with us. We check Twitter throughout the show. It is at Nate Brown Show on Twitter. Here we go with South Dakota Sports Talk Show featuring Curtis Riggs tonight. Let's talk some football. Curtis Riggs just had the scouting combine going on, right, for all these high school kids and some of these players trying to get college opportunities. Riggs, Premier Football Academy. A lot to discuss with Curtis Riggs. Also going to get into the indoor football stuff. So I was talking indoor football yesterday on the show, and I said, will South Dakota ever see another indoor football team? That was our question of the day. We'll revisit that with Curtis Riggs, of course, longtime coach at the Storm. We will talk to Gary Sharp tonight from Omaha. Huskers 1620 The Zone. Gary Sharp is on tonight. Husker football, where are we really at out of the spring? Can Dylan Raiola take a big step? Was just a freshman. Do we expect this highly touted recruit, I mean big-time recruit, to take a huge step And can he take the Huskers to the next level here? Gary Sharp on the 1620 The Zone Show and spring football from the Huskers. We'll go to Denver tonight. James Merlat's on. The Nuggets with a buzzer beater. Did you stay up last night? You got to stay up and watch this stuff. This is what you want. This is quality stuff. Nuggets come back, hit a buzzer beater last night. Take game one from OKC. James Merlat's in from DenverSports.com covering the Nuggets. And Jerry Brewer talking NBA playoffs. We'll preview Wolves Warriors. Jerry Brewer, national sports columnist for the Washington Post, is on tonight. From high school to college to the pros, let's get you covered on the Nate Brown Show. Get you on tonight if you want in 605-720-1067. Throw out the number for you, 605-720-1067. That's the studio line, powered by the Pizza Ranch. Also on the Barron's Wilson text line. Text the show directly. That comes in here on the app. We have the text line, 605-720-1067. That's the Barron's Wilson text line. One more time, 605-720-1067. All right. Let's see here. I gotta get this in order, okay? I got to get a test out. I got to get a test out to the audience tonight, okay? This is going to be a very important test to see how far we want to go in sports when we call on Congress, okay? There's two things here. How far do we want to go to get our way in sports? Do we want Congress involved? Now, here's what I've asked the audience over, the last year or two, since this name, image, and likeness and transfer portal mess has gotten going. Here's what I've asked the audience. Do you want Congress to have a federal law that can take care of all of this mess of unlimited NIL, transfer portal unlimited, the whole thing? What I mean is, do you think there should be a federal law to have some even playing conditions in the world of college sports? So, because the NCAA's out to lunch, they're getting sued every other day, so they don't have any more authority. So the NCAA says, we can't do anything because they missed the boat. It's gone. You're out. And then the conferences say, well, we could do something in our conference, but if we're the Big Ten, we're not going to do something to limit ourselves when the SEC is going to go crazy. So the conferences are playing, but what if they do this? Well, we're not going to limit our name, image, and likeness dollars. We're going to pay the players to come here. So you know who that leaves, right? That's why the SEC and the Big Ten and the Big 12 and the ACC, they went up to Capitol Hill like a month ago and said, we still want a federal response to this. We have to have uniformity across the country to help out college sports in the landscape because it's unsustainable. And you hear this from people, that the current model is unsustainable. So much money being thrown out to players, and it's the haves, the big-time rich, and the have-nots, and they're trying to play this game. Well, we're all college sports teams, right? It's fair in competition, and it's not. And it's not. So I've said, are you willing to have Congress step into that situation? Because I think if I polled you guys today, you would say the current college landscape is not working that well. We haven't stopped watching it. We're not like that angry. At least I'm not totally that angry. I'm not yelling at the clouds too much today. But we are concerned about the current model because it is just going to be the rich programs will dominate. And I do think it's not right to not have consistency, some structure in the name, image, and likeness dollars for each team. It's just an unlimited free agency every year. It's free agency in college football and basketball every year. And you can't have it, yet nobody wants to put a rule in place because they can't. The NCAA is cut off at the knees. The conferences whine and blame each other. And so we need the federal Congress to step in. Is that the only way? And I say this because I've resigned to the fact I think that might be the solution. A Congress solution. Those two things don't go together. I understand. But I don't know if there's any other solution. Otherwise, you just keep going like this. And why am I bringing this up today? Because there's another instance. I got a test for you. And by the way, I have asked you, and you have said in the past, the audience of this program, we don't need Congress involved. At least a majority of you said we don't need Congress involved in college sports. We just can't have it. And I get the opinion. I understand the sentiment. I understand. So a majority of you have said that. I think that's the only option left. Here's the other thing. How about this deal when you haven't been able to watch Twins games over the years because they get blacked out? How about this in the Denver market? This has been a struggle for a long time. Nobody can watch the Nuggets games. You don't know where the games are going to be, and they get blacked out all the time. So essentially, pro sports teams, for many years now, have blacked out games. We all know this. They've blacked out games in the local markets for the local fans. Well, if we don't have a sellout, that used to be the line. If we don't have a sellout, it's going to be blacked out. Sorry, you can't watch the Twins in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. You can't watch the Nuggets in Denver. Sorry. It was just a couple of weeks ago where the Nuggets playoff game was blacked out in Denver. In Denver. You couldn't even get it from the NBA TV standpoint. That's what I was told. I wasn't in Denver, but I got guys down there that we have on the show. I was told you couldn't even get the Nuggets playoff game, I don't know, a week and a half ago, a couple of weeks ago, because it was blacked out. So why do I bring that up? Well, guess what? Congress was talking about this situation with pro sports teams and blacking out games today. As a matter of fact, Texas Senator Ted Cruz said today at a Senate committee meeting regarding live game broadcasts and local markets and pro sports teams. Here's Ted Cruz. This is a growing problem. Fans are upset. It's really hard to watch your home team, figure out what app to use, what network to watch it on. It's fractured right now. It's expensive right now. And Major League Sports enjoy significant benefits from federal legislation. So with these benefits comes an obligation for fans to be able to watch and enjoy, to cheer on their teams. Ted Cruz, this hearing was meant to be informational and a fact-finding exercise. Many of the questions we asked were actively seeking the answer. So he said there's multiple legislative avenues that can address this stuff. So now we're into this. now we're into this category. Do you want Congress today? They're talking about it. I mean, we have all sorts of stuff going on in the world. I understand. But on the sports side of this, do you want Congress involved? Can they tell pro sports teams that they can't black out games in local markets? Is that the way to go? By the way, people are discussing this because it has changed over the years. There's so much stuff going on now. You got streaming, direct to consumer. People are still having to pay for this and pay for that. Blacked out games are still happening in markets. Major League Baseball had a mess of this for a long time. Some teams have figured it out. Like the Twins, finally, if you pay a fee, you can get the Twins games no matter if you're in the local market or not. Finally, you can finally get Twins games, but you have to pay the fee and the whole thing. Before, you got blacked out. You could have MLB TV. Hey, I get every game, right? MLB TV. I paid for the package, and you get blacked out. Ted Cruz is saying Congress can solve this. My question of the day on the Nate Brown Show is, where do you want Congress here? I'm curious. It's a test. We don't want them in college sports, but hang on. Ted Cruz said they might get into the college broadcasting rights as well. They might get into the college side of this as well. And he was referencing things like, hey, the NFL, it's been a long-standing deal since the 60s, this Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961. It's been a long-standing thing. The NFL's not going to be on Friday nights. Why is that? Well, there was just a recognition and there was an understanding you can't do Friday nights in the NFL because of high school football. So But now that's starting to go by the wayside. Why? Didn't we have a Friday night streaming game this past year? Didn't we have a Friday night streaming game to kick off the season? Was that week 1? I can't remember what week, but we had a Friday night deal. So there's this type of stuff that Congress is going, these leagues have benefited from certain things, and now the industry is moving in certain ways, broadcast to streaming to fees, and they're still blacking out fans, and the fans are saying, should we change this thing? Should we allow Congress to tell teams, you can't black out games? That's my question of the day. Do you want Congress getting involved to tell pro sports teams you can't do TV blackouts of games? That's essentially what Ted Cruz and the crew up there, the senators, were talking about at the Senate committee meeting this morning. This is a growing problem, and they got to figure out how the laws look and whether the Sports Broadcasting Act is fulfilling its intended goal. I never thought you'd quite have Congress get this much into things, but I'm going to tell you, here's where I sit on it. If Congress is going to tell pro sports teams that they got to not do blackouts, by the way, I don't like blackouts. You guys hate blackouts. I mean, it's the dumbest thing. You're thinking, okay, you're running a pro sports team, you're running a pro sports league, and you don't want people to watch your product because you want them to spend more money I want them to come to the game. Well, how about I'm in Sioux Falls? You're going to go to some Twins games. You're not going to go to them every week. And you still got blacked out in that piece how the Twins used to do it. The Nuggets, same thing. The Nuggets broadcast partnership reaches a long way. And they would black out their own games. I never quite understood how these pro sports teams, now, some teams are switching this up. They are getting it finally. There are numerous teams that say now, hey, we're going to give our product free, over the air. This is over the air. Like the Phoenix Suns did this. I know the Suns didn't have a great season, but they did from a media standpoint. They said everybody in the Phoenix Metro, free games, every game, no blackouts, no streaming fee, none of it. You just get every single game. Isn't that the way to build a true connected fan base? That's how I would think. Long game, big picture, not we got to get every single penny and we got to black out games so we make sure that our fans are consuming our product live and paying the streaming fee and the whole thing. Can Congress stop pro sports teams from doing blackouts? That's what I would like to know. Do you want them to do that? Because we said we don't want them in the college sports name, image, and likeness transfer portal. At least a majority of you said that on this show when I've asked that question. By the way, I do. It's not like I'm advocating for Congress people to screw up college sports, because maybe I better be careful, because I think that's the only answer. And then they're going to do these hearings and nobody can get along and everybody's going to have another motive and everybody's going to grandstand and you're going to do stupid stuff and they'll probably screw it up. Is that where you're coming from? Am I already backtracking on my Congress approval? Am I already backtracking on this? But I do think they can get involved in college sports. I think that's a bigger issue. Unlimited free agency and money for college players every year. It's a bigger issue than blacking out Nuggets games and Twins games, is it not? But the committee met on that today. Should Congress stop pro sports teams from blacking out games? Basically, they're saying, should Congress get involved in how pro sports teams distribute their product? Ted Cruz is saying these teams get a lot of benefits, so we should be able to, hold their feet to the fire for fans. It's an interesting scenario today. Really interesting scenario. What say you? Listener text coming in, 605-720-1067. Text us on the text line. Do you want Congress involved in telling pro sports teams how to distribute their product? They had a Senate meeting on it today. Listener text, you never want government to get involved in sports. Very simple. Listener text, this is about the failures of the NCAA. Until there's a group that's willing to take up the mantle of what the NCAA tried to enforce rules, the federal government gets involved. If they do in college sports, there will be winners and losers from any decision the feds make. The winners will most likely be the big college schools. The losers will be the small schools. Well, that's who's winning and losing right now. I don't know if you can solve this, but I do think you have to have some consistency across the country in college sports. It's an absolute mess. Listener text, in today's technology, they can't find a way for the outlying communities to watch the game and just black it out for the major cities? See, the question is this. Should pro sports teams be able to black out games in their city? If you're in Denver, should you be able to watch the Denver Nuggets when you're not going to the game? How it used to be with the Twins, if you didn't pay this fee for the streaming. Should you be able to watch the Twins in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities? Should you be able to watch the Twins without a blackout? That's the question of the day. That's the fact of the matter today. Let me ask you this. Would you want Congress to step in there? You want Congress to tell pro sports teams no more blackouts like they discussed at the Senate meeting today? Oh, boy. I'm surprised. Twitter poll says 69% of you, yes, Congress needs to act on this. 69% of you. 31% say it's not that big a deal. No Congress. It's not that big a deal. We got more people going for Congress to step in on pro sports teams, telling them no more blackouts, than Congress stepping in to tell college sports we need some consistency with money, transferring, same structure for each team. I'd start there. I hate the blackouts, but I'd start in the college sports world. If we're going to get Congress to do anything, please start in college sports, not the blackout situation. Curtis Riggs. He's with Premier Football Academy, of course, a longtime coach of the Sioux Falls Storm. Is indoor football, what is the future of it in the state of South Dakota? Curtis Riggs next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
Consumers everywhere are loving the benefits of buying locally produced food. Not only is it fresher and more nutritious, it's also good for the local economy. With state-of-the-art facilities throughout the Midwest, the Village Hearth buns you already love are baked and delivered fresh daily to your local grocer. So whether you like unsliced old-fashioned hamburger and hot dog buns or prefer classic white or wheat, just look for the familiar red Village Hearth logo on the package and you've made the right choice. Village Hearth buns, locally baked and delivered fresh daily.
Deals are popping up all over the place this week at Fleet Farm. Like Farm Fresh Selects veggie and herb plants, 3 for $9.99. 1 cubic foot bags of Miracle-Gro Moisture Control Potting Mix are just $9.99. And ladies' Carhartt Tencel t-shirts are 25% off. From garden staples to workwear essentials, Fleet Farm has everything you need this season. Always at the best prices, guaranteed.
Forever Lawn Black Hills and the Rapid City Sports Commission are partnering and hosting a Sports Fields Live Forum on Wednesday, May 14th at the Hive, downtown Rapid City at 4:30 p.m. If you've thought about putting in a sports field and want to learn everything from installation to the best product for your field, this meeting's for you. RSVP to Christy at 605-831-9026. Learn all the ins and outs on sports fields from Forever Lawn Black Hills and the Rapid City Sports Commission. RSVP before May 14th to Christy at 831-9026.
This isn't just the sound of a legendary Brunswick pool table. It's the sound of families about to make memories together. And while this may sound like the hum of a spa, listen closely and you'll hear backyard fun for years to come. So while Splash City's guarantee of quality sure sounds good, we know quality time sounds even better.
Who wants another burger? Splash City, 1024 West Omaha, across from Connects in Rapid City.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 45. Tonight, under overcast skies, winds out of the north 5 to 10 miles per hour. Daytime highs approaching 69. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Lows around 48. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies. Warmer Thursday and Friday with highs in the upper 70s. Chance for storms Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 59.
Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer from Denny Menholt Toyota. Use your phone. It's fast and easy. Pull up our website, click on Value Trade-In, scan your VIN, and tell us about your car. You are on your way to a no-hassle, no-commitment cash offer on your vehicle in under 5 minutes. Bring your vehicle and your Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer to Denny Menholt Toyota and get cash or trade-in credit today. See you soon at Denny Menholt Toyota, Rapid City.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live every afternoon drive. Thanks for being here. Jerry Brewer's coming up. Pulitzer Prize finalist, sports writer, Washington Post. How about that? Jerry in tonight. James Merlat's on the way talking Nuggets. What a win last night for Denver over OKC. Who's got tonight? Warriors, Wolves. We'll preview it straight ahead. Jerry Brewer on tap. Curtis Riggs joining us tonight. Riggs Premier Football Academy. These guys have been busy. Just had a combine. It's at 7-on-7. Curtis, good to have you back on. How are you?
Nate, I'm good. A lot of travel here lately, but in Sioux Falls today.
Okay, good deal, and I appreciate you hopping in. I said you guys are football all the time. I want to get your read on, you do this combine for some of these prospects and college coaches coming in, taking a look. How healthy, what's the scene like in South Dakota high school football?
Well, it's definitely taken off in the last, I would say, probably 12 to 13 years. It seems like as the advancement of facilities and programs have grown in Sioux Falls, so have the Sioux Falls schools, the success they've had, and surrounding communities. Brandon Valley, Harrisburg have really flourished with a lot of what the community of Sioux Falls has put together for them.
I think that because I asked that, Curtis, because people said, I was told by a guy 10 years ago, football's going down. There's a lot of concern with it. And I understand some of the sentiment there, but I never believed that. And I said, football is king. And you're telling me football East River do you think it's grown?
Nate, I used to coach at Roosevelt High School. That was my first coaching job for Brent DeBoer. Brian Hermanson and I were on that same staff. Craig Clayberg, who coached at T. And we would go to Yankton and Watertown and Aberdeen Central and the Rapid City schools, and we'd get beat. I mean, those smaller schools that are AA schools now, very competitive, if not winning. And the Rapid City schools were winning and very difficult to beat, whereas in the last, 10 years probably, it's changed. It's changed drastically. And you can't say it's just student population. There's other avenues, there's other things that are variables that are influencing this. And, when you come out to the Sanford Fieldhouse and you see the training options that the athletes have year-round now, and they can practice football year-round, still amongst their other sports. We want them doing the other things, but they're still advancing in that skill set. It's definitely helped them in a lot of ways.
Curtis Riggs joining us. Riggs Premier Football Academy, of course, on Twitter at Riggs Football, longtime coach and Sioux Falls Storm coach. So you tell me, when it comes down to it, what do you see the difference is in these NFL prospects? 91% of them were multiple sport athletes. Okay? So when people grab that, they say, well, you got to be a multi-sport athlete and you could still be an NFL star. I also I also pause there and say, well, these guys are all freak athletes. So which one is it for you? You say football you can work on year-round, but are football guys still multi-sport athlete guys?
They should be. If they're not, they're hurting their cause. Now, I will say, there's certain cases, like let's say Mason McCormick. Now, Mason did track still. He was a thrower, but I think there's certain guys that they're in line ready to go for that one sport. They know this is their sport. I think, Jace Woods, the receiver from Washington High School, he's got a younger brother who's an 8th grader that's 6'6". He's already touching the top of the white box on the backboard. He's a very gifted basketball player. I could see him going just basketball. Maybe he goes out in high jumps and track. There's certain rare cases, but everyone else, they should be doing multiple sports. Nash Hutmacher, great wrestler, great football player. You look at Brody Schaefer. Brody Schaefer's doing football, basketball, baseball, track. Lincoln High School has a tremendous track and every other sport program. The athletes all do track along with their other sport.
All right. You tell me, what can West River do to elevate their football tradition? It takes a long time. You said, Steven, some of these teams back in the day, what can they do to get back competitive?
Well, the one thing I remember seeing is the numbers were a lot bigger on the rosters when you would play them. The sidelines weren't bare. It wasn't like you were playing a team smaller than a Gorman every week, and that's what you see now. You play some, especially I saw Central this last year, and I thought, O'Gorman has more kids on the sideline than they do, and really O'Gorman should be a AA school, but they just have this proud sense of we're going to compete, and we have great coaches that are going to put us out there ready to compete. That's where the other schools lack. They lack that buy-in. They lack the numbers. They lack the facilities. They lack the opportunity to really go out there and succeed. So they got to have that one good year to build off of. They haven't been able to have that. So every year it's an uphill battle.
Curtis Riggs joining us tonight, longtime coach, Riggs Premier Football Academy on the Nate Brown Show. I want to talk some indoor football with you. You had so much success with the Storm. Storm is dormant right now. I just saw this headline from Billings. I was back in the day when you were coaching, Coach. I was in Billings covering some of these Billings Outlaws Sioux Falls Storm games. I mean, these were all-time games back in the day. Well, now the Billings Outlaws, they're talking about how they're struggling, not enough crowd support. The owner said we may have to move the team. Indoor football, you know it. Is there a long future ahead of it?
Yeah, there is. It's got to be the right league, the right product, though. The league that Billings plays in is just god-awful. I mean, you're talking about a team that you got Billings, and then you got teams in New York. I mean, it's got to make sense. They don't have the budgets to be able to make that work. And then when you're not bringing it, crowds don't want to see a team from New York come in. They want to have a rivalry. They want, a Sioux Falls. They want someone that they can build up that opportunity that, hey, they might beat us this time, but we're going to get them next time. Well, when you're playing the teams from, New York and Florida, and it's really difficult to do that. Yes, the dream is big. Let's do this. Let's get a TV deal. But the reality sets in, and the follow-through doesn't happen. It's where they really start to falter and fall apart. And I think that is the common thing in minor league sports is these other leagues that come out with a dream that's so big, but the follow-through never really happens, and then they peel off quickly.
You tell me, how tough is it to make, not success on the field like you had, to make ends meet with some indoor football organizations?
Well, I mean, the first and most important component is the ownership. Is the owner willing to make the financial sacrifices that at some point they're going to be called upon to do? And those some points may be very limited, very few times, but will be the saving grace. Many cannot do it. Many come in with the aspirations and goals of, we're going to strike it rich and we're going to do it quick. And that is not reality. That is not going to happen. It's just like anyone starting a restaurant business. I think it's like 83% fail. It would be the same with indoor football. Now, the model that is coming in that's successful, Nate, is the hockey teams that own a football team too, because you have the same staffing, you have season ticket holders that you can reach out to, you have strong sponsorships that you're getting their signage out there now year-round rather than only, so many games. It's a model that's really flourished. And in the IFL, you have Vegas, who's owned by the Golden Knights. You have the Tulsa team that has the hockey team that's, sells out almost every game. Fishers in Indianapolis, same thing. It's kind of the thing that's taking over, and it's a good business model that people are willing to invest in.
Curtis, you're not involved anymore, but I want to know if you think fans will see the Sioux Falls indoor scene back sometime.
Yeah, I do. I think so. I think it's going to be it's got to be a creative way. I know the mayor has met with the commissioner of the IFL about how can we do this, how can we get them back in. I think the Premier Center's an obstacle. The GM there is he wants shows. He is not how Mayor Huther envisioned when he built the Premier Center, saying, hey, we want big shows, but we want our community teams playing here. This is the total opposite. This is, I want big shows because I get bonuses and we draw and we make money and it looks really good. And that's been a big obstacle. That was an obstacle for Sioux Falls. I think, if Sioux Falls, Rapid City, Fargo, these are great markets. How do you get them in? It's got to be a way that a creative owner comes in and says, I'm willing to bite the bullet for a little while, build up a fan base, show sponsors I'm in, because most sponsors are scared to dive into this because of the quick turnover. Then you got a chance.
And Sioux Falls would support indoor football at a high level still, meaning the fans, you think they would come back?
I think so. It's got to be just what you're saying, though, at a high level. It can't be, hey, we're throwing together this team of guys of who knows what and where and how many years they've been doing it. It's got to be high quality. It's going to be compared to the years that we played. I think one thing, though, Nate, that we even struggled with coming back from COVID was really difficult. We came back. We won the title in 2019. We went in and beat Arizona, who was undefeated. We played them in front of 16,000 people at their place, and we beat them. And we thought, boy, we're going to really take off again. Well, then COVID hit, and coming back after COVID was really a challenge. And I think you almost have to rebrand and totally bring back a new product, but with a vision of you're going to be back winning again.
Curtis Riggs on tonight, from high school to indoor to the Riggs Premier Football Academy. That's what he runs there on the Nate Brown Show. Curtis, good to talk to you. Thanks for the time.
Awesome, Nate. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Curtis Riggs on South Dakota Sports Talk Show across the state. He runs Riggs Premier Football Academy, longtime coach and, of course, multi-champion there, the Sioux Falls Storm on the indoor football scene. It's interesting. I'm wondering where indoor football goes in South Dakota. Rapid City's tried and tried and tried. It's a lot of fun with a couple of these teams. It was. Sioux Falls Storm had a really great run. Now they're dormant. And then he talked about the facility issues there pretty openly. Will there be an indoor football team ever again in South Dakota? It was my question of the day. I put up the Twitter poll. Let's take a look at that result. I wanted to see what people said on this. Will there be another indoor football team in the state of South Dakota ever again? 120 people voted here. 63% said no, they just can't make ends meet. 37%, yes, indoor football will be back in South Dakota. Somebody will try it. It's got to be somebody with big dollars and a commitment there. This isn't just get rich fast scheme. This is get poor fast sometimes. So That's very interesting. Indoor football. 63% of my audience said it's not going to ever come back in South Dakota. The Billings Outlaws have had a long, great run, too. Now they have a new owner. I mean, he's been with them for a while, though. He said in order to make things meet, he was on a podcast. I saw this. What do they need in order to make it work? He said 4,000 to 5,000 fans a game. That's the Billings Outlaws owner at they're in the Arena Football 1 League. So he said 4,000 to 5,000 fans a game will make things work. And I would think that's doable. I mean, you don't want to just make ends meet. You want to try and make a little bit of money, but 4,000 to 5,000 each game. It's not like it's a hockey team where there's a ton of games. So can you get 4,000 to 5,000 in a market like Billings? I would think so, but they aren't right now. All right, let's go NBA playoffs. Warriors-Wolves tonight. Jerry Brewer, his take on the series. Washington Post national sports writer next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
The summer heat will be here soon, but our hot summer savings sale is on now. Get $1,200 off every door and $800 off every window. Plus enjoy no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Get an extra 5% off just on a consultation. Hurry. This creates hot savings while you can. Call today or visit rbarapidcity.com to book your free estimate.
Mother's Day, treat Mom to a brunch she'll never forget at the Box Elder Event Center. Sunday, May 11th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Enjoy favorites like prime rib, grilled salmon, French toast, a kids station, and endless desserts. Capture memories with our photo backdrop, stunning balloon arches, and sweet fluff organic cotton candy. And hero moms, active military, first responders, and teachers get in free. Reservations are required. Visit thebox.live before it's sold out.
Whether you're a pro or a Joe, a weekend warrior or a gardening great, Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine is here when you need us. Nobody plans an injury, but when people throughout the Black Hills and beyond suffer a setback, Monument Health Orthopedics is here to provide comprehensive medical care. Our team of board-certified orthopedic surgeons and specialists is dedicated to helping patients regain the quality of life they've lost due to an injury, arthritis, or joint wear and tear. Monument Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for everyday athletes like you.
Chatting with Brian at Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail. Well, time to see how your car will weather the winter.
That it is. Let's make sure your vehicle is ready to handle the warm months ahead.
Being a AAA and ASE certified shop, I know you guys are well equipped to do just that.
Justin and our techs have all the experience you need in diagnosing and repairing whatever may be ailing your vehicle.
And if finances are tight for customers, you can help there?
Yes, we can. We offer the AutoPass card, which has really been a huge help for people who are in dire need of repairs. Call us with any questions on this program, or you can get an answer in minutes right from our homepage at anytimeanytime.com. Just click the AutoPass Apply Now button.
What a great option for those who have repairs that just can't wait.
Absolutely. It's been a fantastic opportunity for many people.
Anytime Auto Sales Service and Detail, everybody. The place to trust. Your complete AAA and ASE certified automotive repair specialist. See anytimeanytime.com and at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
This is the Nate Brown Show, also streaming live on YouTube. Subscribe to the Nate Brown Show on YouTube.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show live, Fox Sports Radio, South Dakota Sports Talk Show, where it's always a great day in South Dakota. Yes. Thanks for being here. Let's take a look at what's on tap tonight. James Merilatt coming up, DenverSports.com, covering the Nuggets series. They steal one last night. I stayed up, watch that. What a finish. Aaron Gordon with a 3-ball. Look out. James Merilatt's coming up, DenverSports.com. We'll talk Huskers. Can they take the next step with Dylan Raiola, the big-time quarterback prospect after his freshman year? Gary Sharp's on tap from Omaha, 1620 The Zone. What's on tap on the Nate Brown Show, brought to you by the new Campfire Bar at Mr. Liquor 2 off Catron Boulevard, your home for live sports. Campfire Bar's great, patios, awesome this time of year. It's getting nice. 20 local brews from South Dakota on tap at the new Campfire Bar, Mr. Liquor 2 off Catron Boulevard, South Dakota's best and biggest liquor store. All right, Jerry Brewer's in tonight. Pulitzer Prize finalist. I said Jerry's a great writer. If you don't follow his work, you should. You really should. Longtime sports writer, WashingtonPost.com. Jerry, that's quite an honor, man. How do you feel? How are you?
I feel wonderful, man. You know what's crazy is they announce the winner and the finalists at the same time, so it's not like I got to dream. But man, it's really, there's no sports category, so it's really hard for a sports writer just to be recognized. So to be considered one of the 3 best commentary writers in 2025 is an incredible honor.
Okay, so you wrote this piece, and it was a long piece that was really well done, and basically how sports interjects now with social justice, politics. I mean, all of this stuff where sports used to be the unifier. Now it can be a statement made through sports. So I encourage people to check it out. Jerry Brewer's piece that he wrote for the Washington Post, and I'm going to bring that in right now. By the way, there was a Senate committee meeting today where they were talking about, should Congress be able to tell pro sports teams, hey, we're taking a look at how you're distributing your games through the Sports Broadcasting Act, and I'm not going to get into the weeds, but basically they're saying, I don't know if you should be able to black out games. You should be able to deliver games to fans in local markets. When you see this, Congress and pro sports teams on this broadcast stuff, what do you think of?
Well, I think on its face, Nate, yeah, like we shouldn't have games blacked out. I think it's one of the great frustrations of fans all across the country. However, I would caution that any time you ask for government to intervene on sports matters, they screw it up more than we would have screwed it up anyway. So let's figure it out on our own. It's nice to have the pressure and to have that feeling, that Congress is kind of breathing down your neck. I think that kind of helps you get a little more fair, but we don't need the government intervening in our sports matters.
Okay, what do you think of some teams that have switched it? They've gone the other way, the Phoenix Suns, and there's some others. They've gone no fee, no blackouts, no streaming. It's over the air, free. The Phoenix Suns are in the Phoenix Metro, that whole area. Here's the Suns games. They're banking on, we're going to build fans and connect with them and get them to support us and buy our stuff and come to the games that way. What do you make of teams that are doing that?
Yeah, I get emails all the time about how the games aren't on TV, right? And like it's a statement from, a certain fan that's a little older that, doesn't have all the cable channels and the streaming and all the bells and whistles, and they're very frustrated by that. And, as you know, Nate, there's always these kind of wars between these regional sports networks and then the direct TVs or whatever cable provider you have. They often have these battles over how much they can get, how much they can charge. And oftentimes, you have situations in which games that are supposed to be on a certain network aren't on for a matter of time until they resolve the issue. It's all a mess. And I think it's all under the umbrella of how money, like the millions and the billions of dollars in the sports industry, have made the game less fun, like in all matters. And I understand, if somebody's getting that money, right? And so I'd rather it not be in the hands of just the owners and have it be equally distributed to the labor force. However, like, our obsession with sports has just created this monster that we don't know how to slay. And I think we're kind of reaching a tipping point, Nate, in which a lot of people are just going to say, you know what? This isn't as fun as it used to be, and maybe it's not our generation, maybe it's not the generation after us, but I know, like my kids, I have sons who are 12 and 9, and they're just not into sports the way that I was into sports at that age. And I do a lot of reading, and there's a lot of concern in the sports world about that young generation and how to cultivate them as sports fans. And clearly, what we're doing right now isn't going to gain their interest.
Okay, that's interesting. Why would you say, Jerry, your 12-year-old and 9-year-old are not as into it? Are the games not on as much? Are they not sitting to watch games? What do you point to?
Number one, they're punishing Dad because he's away a lot covering sports. But number two, even though we're in the West Coast in the Pacific time zone, living in Seattle, a lot of the games, just like the game times, just don't match their life schedule. And I obviously, like, before we moved back here and they made me more national, we lived in that Eastern time zone, and just 9 o'clock, 9:20 tip-offs and these sort of things. Major League Baseball games going until 1 in the morning in the World Series, like they're fast asleep. So I think you're losing kind of a generation being so obsessed with these primetime windows, which I just don't understand that. I never will, Nate. I think major sporting events are appointment television. You don't have to have them in the perfect window. People will find them. One of my great thrills growing up was watching the World Series and the NBA Finals and other things, like, in the afternoon. And now, like, heaven forbid you want to start a game before 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
And so I think we got to really rethink that, because it's kind of destroying the dads teaching their sons, mothers teaching their daughters, dad teaching their daughters the game just by casually watching during the day.
Jerry Brewer joining us tonight, WashingtonPost.com national sports writer, Pulitzer Prize finalist. Checked out his piece. Really good stuff. You can find it there. Okay, let's go to the NBA playoffs. I want to get your read on this. I've really enjoyed it. I stayed up last night, Mountain Time Zone, Jerry. So and you're good too out there. Nuggets win, coming back. I didn't see it because I'm watching that game. They're down 12 most of the time, down by more than that earlier. They win it on a buzzer beater. Can the Nuggets beat OKC?
Sure, the Nuggets can beat OKC. You're talking about a team that still has a championship core from just 2 years ago, and you're talking about. I do believe Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be the MVP, but just because you're the MVP on a given season doesn't mean that you're the best player in the game. Nikola Jokic is the best player in the game, and so anytime you've got him on your side, he controls the game in so many levels that he's going to give you a chance to win. Now, that being said, I think sometimes we forget, like in watching the game, all of a sudden it's like, oh, Denver's going to win this series. I'm not to the point where I say that game proved to me they can win this series. Like, I still need to see more to say that they will win the series. Because for so much of that game, OKC controlled it, and you just saw the havoc, especially on the defensive end, that they can create, and how much deeper they are than the Nuggets. I think over the course of a 7-game series, if they don't panic, that will bear fruit. But the experience matters, especially in the NBA playoffs, and you're talking about a team that hasn't done it versus a team that's reached the mountaintop. So all of a sudden, I look at that and say, maybe that'll be a full 7-game series. That'd be a lot of fun.
With experience, the Warriors have it big time. So how do you see this series? Game 1 tonight, Minnesota. Warriors have the experience. Do they have enough to beat the Wolves? They don't have big guys. Do they have enough?
I'm not sure. You know, you saw what the Lakers were too small for Minnesota. And you saw what Minnesota was able to do to the Lakers. You know, all the mismatch problems that they had. Even when you play Rudy Gobert off the floor, there's a problem if Julius Randle is going to play like he did in the previous series. Anthony Edwards is just a superstar, one of the best 5 to 7 players in the game. They've got, I love their team altogether, and this is a team that went to the conference finals a year ago. So they've got youth, they've got experience, they've got size, they've got versatility. They've got interesting established players like Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo coming off the bench. They've got it all. And they just happen to have kind of an underwhelming sort of end to their regular season. But that team actually should have been like a 2 seed to me instead of like the Houston Rockets. So it's a real problem. You know, having said that, like, you got to put down the Warriors. And they're a hard team to put down. Steph and Draymond and all the championship experience they have, and then just some of the glue pieces they have who will step up. And then now they've got Jimmy Butler, and the healthier that Jimmy Butler gets, you know, like what playoff Jimmy can do. And he's going against a team that he did not have a good run when he was a Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah.
And you know he's going to, if he's got it in his body, you know he wants to have a great series against them. Minnesota has to win this game tonight. They don't want to be another one of these teams that allow the road team to steal game one, which has happened in the other 3 series. I think it's more important for Minnesota to win game one than it was for Boston. I think Boston's still okay, even though they lost that game to the Knicks. I think the Cavs, their injuries concern me, but I think they're still okay against Indiana. I don't think OKC should panic against Denver. But, this Warriors team, you're talking about a dynasty, the remnants of a dynasty at least. You need to jump on them and put some doubt in their minds tonight.
Game 1 tonight in Minnesota. A bunch of Wolves fans getting ready to go. It's a great series, I think. Warriors, Wolves. Jerry Brewer on tonight. WashingtonPost.com. Find his work there. National sports writer. He's on X at Jerry Brewer. Jerry, good to have you. Thanks a lot.
Oh, anytime, man.
Appreciate you. Pulitzer Prize finalist, a great writer. Good to have him on the show. We try and get him as much as we can. National sports writer, WashingtonPost.com. Jerry Brewer in tonight on South Dakota Sports Talk Show. He sounds like he's leaning Wolves. Sounds like he's leaning Wolves. Maybe the Nuggets have a chance. People were thinking OKC would just run over the Nuggets. That was a biggie last night. I don't know if it'll set the tone, but that was a giveaway by OKC last night. If you guys watched it at all, that was a giveaway. OKC in total control the whole time. I was getting tired. I was like, I'm going to bag this. And then I'm like, wait a second. And they got after it. Nuggets came back and win it on a buzzer beater from Aaron Gordon. That was big time. We'll talk to James Merilatt on the Nuggets side specifically. DenverSports.com straight ahead. Huskers, Gary Sharp talking Husker spring football. What did we learn? That's on tap in the second hour. Speaking of college sports, there's a report out today. This is why the system is unbelievably unfair. I'll tell you what I'm talking about next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. the #1 hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
The summer heat will be here soon, but our hot summer savings sale is on now. Get $1,200 off every door and $800 off every window. Plus, enjoy no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Get an extra 5% off your entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Hurry, this exclusive offer won't last long. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your windows and doors, so grab these hot savings while you can. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
Rapid City forecast. Lows around 45. Tonight, under overcast skies, winds out of the north 5 to 10 miles per hour. Daytime highs approaching 69. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Lows around 48. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies. Warmer Thursday and Friday with highs in the upper 70s. Chance for storms Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently 59.
Collins Siding has been the region's premier window siding, door, and gutter installation specialist since 1974. They use only the highest quality materials and never compromise on their workmanship. Collins Siding is licensed, bonded, and their estimates always include labor, materials, and applicable permits and taxes. Collins Siding has been providing top quality service and exceeding high standards for over 45 years, and you can find out how by visiting them at 2016 Cherry Avenue. Collins Siding, 2016 Cherry Avenue, Rapid City.
If you're in the market for a vehicle right now, you probably have noticed it's sometimes hard to find the right one. That's where Summit Automotive Group steps in. Stacy and Matt and their staff working hard to get a great selection of pre-owned vehicles at affordable prices. At Summit Automotive, they have a different outlook on selling you a vehicle. You'll experience stress-free shopping, friendly, honest service with no high-pressure sales gimmicks. Before you buy, drop by East Highway 44, SummitAutoGRP.com.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear, Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show. Glad you're here. The Nate Brown Show is on Fox Sports Radio, streaming right now on X as well. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show on X. Welcome in there. Also on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show. We've hit the subscriber number. We've got a good number, but we can get it more than that. So subscribe to The Nate Brown Show on YouTube. We'd appreciate that. You can watch the live show right now and the archive shows if you missed anybody. Curtis Riggs got us going tonight. Good football discussion with him from high school to indoor. Curtis Riggs on tonight. Went NBA playoffs with Jerry Brewer, Washington Post national writer. A lot more to come. Hey, I'm asking a question of the day. Do you want Congress to get involved in stuff? I'm trying to see what's the breaking point. Do we want Congress involved in sports stuff at all? Many of you have said you don't want them involved in the college sports landscape because we don't want Congress involved in anything with sports. Well, how about this? How about this? New financial report out today from the Big Ten. And we find out how much revenue the Big Ten Conference made this past year. $928 million. So how much money did they distribute to each Big Ten team? Big Ten school. How much money did the Big Ten schools bring in just from their revenue here? $63 million. That was the distribution, $63 million for each program. So let's think about this. The Big Ten is giving out $63 million from their deal here to each school. And everybody's wondering, where are they going to get this money? They got a revenue share, $20 million a year. They only have $43 million left over from just this deal here. That's the revenue that the Big Ten brought in, okay? That's not the local Husker sponsorships and all of that stuff that the donors give, okay? This has nothing to do with name, image, and likeness and all that stuff. That's just revenue into the conference that was distributed. You're part of the Big Ten Conference. You just made $63 million if you're Nebraska, Ohio State, whoever. How about the SEC? They distributed $52 million each school this past year. But here's the kicker. You think that's a lot. Now that they've added in the Big Ten, USC, Oregon, Washington, UCLA, they think they're going to bring in revenue with new TV deals up to $1.4 billion a year. The Big Ten Conference team, the Big Ten Conference is going to bring in $1.4 billion a year. So they think they're going to go from distributing $63 million every year. They think they might distribute $75 to $80 million per school a year. $75 to $80 million per school per year. That's the Big Ten projection for 2025. They're going to jump up another to $75 million just for this year. And so my point is, we're trying to act like other college programs and colleges can compete with the big boys. I mean, it's just off the charts, and that's where I'm going to die on this hill. It's a lonely... We need somebody to step in and have financial regulations on how much each school can spend on players, and that's the place to start. Because if the Big Ten's giving out $75 million just on this deal per school, you're trying to tell me the Big 12 and some of these programs and even reach out to the Mountain West, they're in the same division? They're in the same division? And everyone's like, yeah, I guess that's the way it's going to be. It can't be. So I'm going to die on the hill. Listener text coming in. Congress doesn't do much anyway. Why would they do anything on this? Yeah. We don't want, I understand. It's a tough sell, but nobody else is stepping in to have any regulations here on this college sports. And the Big Ten's making so much money. The SEC's right behind them. Nobody's going to be able to touch them. And they can buy any players. They can spend whatever. And we're trying to act like other programs can compete with them. So, I mean, it's just crazy. Okay, let's get into the second hour right now on the Nate Brown Show. I've got a fun one for you. So, South Dakota high school sports, they're great. I love them. Is there something that we're missing that we could steal from another state? I've got a list of things in my mind. One from my home state of Montana. I'm gonna bring this up to you. Montana does something that South Dakota does not. I wonder if you guys would go for this. What are we missing? What would we want to change for South Dakota high school sports? Is there something we should steal from another state and put into our high school sports scene here? We'll discuss next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
Could there be a better name? Auto Value Parts Stores. They aren't just about air fresheners or fuzzy dice. Auto Value Parts Stores are all about parts, auto parts, and advice. Pros who know auto parts with tons of tips when you need them the most. You want real value? Don't go to a place with a cute name. Go to Auto Value. Could there be a better name? I didn't think so. Your Auto Value Parts Store. We've got the parts, we've got the smarts.
Hey golfers, have you experienced Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club? Golf Digest ranked Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club the #1 public course in South Dakota. Off Exit 17 in Spearfish, Elkhorn Ridge offers a golfing experience second to none. Play their 18-hole championship layout with your buddies. Stop into Miller Creek Pub for some drinks, or bring the family out for lunch and try out the new putting green right below Miller Creek Pub. Elkhorn Ridge Golf Club has it all. Book your next tee time at elkhornridgeresort.com.
Hey sports fans, it's Rob from the Firehouse Skybox. We are Rapid City's premier sports bar with everything you want for the best game watching experience. Bring your crew and take in the action while enjoying our Firehouse craft beers, specialty cocktails, and a great menu of Firehouse burgers, nachos, and more. We have every game, every night on our 35 big screens, and there's not a bad seat in the house. Come and watch your favorite team at the #1 place for sports, the Skybox, right above the Firehouse, Main Street, downtown Rapid City.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, we are committed to improving the lives of our members and bettering our communities. As your community credit union, we're here to get to know you and your unique needs. From extended service hours to the newest technology, we have you covered. Stop by any location to get started or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is member-owned, not-for-profit, and federally insured by the NCUA.
Isn't it time for new windows and doors from Renewal by Andersen? With mortgage interest rates where they are right now, so many people are renovating their own homes rather than moving. And there's never been a better time to invest in awesome new windows and doors from Renewal by Andersen. Renewal by Andersen's legendary windows have been the best you can get for decades, but many people don't know that Renewal by Andersen also has incredible new ensemble entry doors and the entire Acclaim line of replacement windows, which are winning rave reviews from clients. Renewal by Andersen's windows, ensemble entry doors, and the entire Acclaim line of replacement windows will make your home so much more energy efficient on cold winter nights or hot summer days. Those new windows and doors will make your home so much more quiet and secure. We hear that all the time. Please visit RBARapidCity.com to schedule a free consultation. Be sure to ask about our great offers and really attractive financing options right now. Renewal by Andersen Windows and Entry Doors. Isn't it time?
One more time.
This is the Nate Brown Show. From the biggest national names to the hottest stories across South Dakota. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
Hey, glad to have you on board tonight. Hope you've had a great day today. We're into the second hour. The Nate Brown Show is South Dakota Sports Talk Show. The second hour driven by Summit Automotive Group. When it comes to pre-owned in South Dakota, start at summitautogrp.com. That's summitautogrp.com. Car buying built around you. Second hour features James Merlat live from Denver, talking Nuggets, OKC, and more. Denversports.com. James Merlat's in. We'll go to Omaha tonight. Gary Sharp on the Huskers. Will Dylan Raiola step up? I just talked to a Husker season ticket holder. He told me, I don't know what to think. Is it is it going to be the same old Huskers? Gary Sharp's in tonight. Spring football in the books. 1620 The Zone. Omaha. Gary Sharp. Huskers have added some transfers here. Interesting stuff. They just got another quarterback prospect. I saw that. So Gary Sharp's on the way. Talking Huskers later this hour. Hey, you know what we talk about here on the show? Well, we just talked about it here tonight. How we need to change college sports. How I'm think that's the only way to go. You got to get some federal regulations. I mean, people hate it, but you got to try and even out the playing field. I think you have to do something there. So I talk about how I think we need to change college sports. What about from a South Dakota sports standpoint? I want to do that tonight. What would you change about South Dakota high school sports? Is it a long list? I came up with 4 things that other states do that I wonder what you would have an appetite for. So what would you want to change about South Dakota high school sports that other states do? And I'll give you some examples. And then you can let me know, 605-720-1067 if you want to contribute to the question of the day. If you had to choose one, which high school sports thing would you change and steal from another state? Here's one from my state. I'm from Montana, okay? I'm from the state of Montana. Great state. I love South Dakota. I've been here a long time, but great state. Montana, you're going to be surprised on this, for South Dakota or for Montana high school football, they do their state championship games at the home field. So yes, Sioux Falls Lincoln would host at Howard Wood. Brandon Valley would host at Brandon. Okay, so just go on down the line. The Pierre Governors, all these state titles, they would be in Pierre. So the number one seed, if they make it, the highest seed as the football playoffs go on, they get to host the Montana State Football Championship. People have kind of been like, what? We love the Dome in South Dakota. Better weather, nice facility. You kind of make it a big deal. You get to go to the Dome. It's tradition. I don't see South Dakota ever changing that. And I don't know if many of you would want to change it, but I'm just giving you a little different perspective. It's very undervalued when your town gets to host a state championship. Because my brother played in one. I did not. I got close. Give me a break. My brother played in one. Smaller town, Montana, state championship. It was on a Saturday afternoon. It was unbelievable. The scene was unbelievable. I think the scene was better than if you would have played that at, Bozeman, Montana State. Like, there is no dome in Montana like the Dakota Dome. So you'd play it at Montana State or you'd play it at Missoula. That's a great stadium. So it'd be a lot of fun, but I think the scene, the fans, the support was better when the hometown team hosted it. Would you go for that? Okay, so there's one. Here's what's been mentioned on this show to me. I don't like it, but it has been mentioned on the show to me that state basketball in South Dakota should not go from to 8 teams. Too many teams. We have all these games, and then we have a 7th, 8th place game of the whole thing. I was told they should I've been told this on the show, we should go to a Final Four state tournament. It'd be immediately semifinal night, then state championship and 3rd place the next day. I don't like that. I think people are trying to say, well, we don't need the 7th, 8th place game. I agree. But you could just do a double eliminations. I still want 8 teams to make it to the state tournament. I think the 4-team thing, other states have done that. 4-team state tournaments, a Final Four state tournament. I don't think it's a big enough experience for enough towns, enough schools. It's a great format. Most states have it 8. South Dakota has it right until I still think they don't need to play out the whole thing. Not every team needs 3 games. You lose twice. You don't want to play against Saturday morning, matinee session. Just bag it. I think it's not ending the world that they play the 7th, 8th, but I think people are trying to figure out, well, just go to a Final Four then. Well, no, that takes away too much. That takes away too many towns, too many kids being at a state tournament. So I'm not going to go that, but that's one option, Final Four state tournament. Here's the big one that everybody wants to argue about. All tournaments, one city. Would you vote for that? If you had to change one thing, that's our question tonight. Think about this, high school sports fans. If you had to change one thing about South Dakota high school sports, would you go one city, all state tournaments? One city, all state tournaments. I just got a list of reaction from Aberdeen. Let's see here. Yes, all tournaments in Aberdeen, but that would be a lot. Oh, sarcasm tonight. You serious? Okay. Let's see. So all tournaments, one city. Is that your vote? And one more. This is the one I'm fighting for. I'm going to continue my quest because this is real. I'm not going to do the Final Four state tournaments. Final Four's out the window. I know my friend Mike Hendrickson has mentioned that. Sorry, Mike, it's out. We're done. No state football championships at the home side. I think you do underappreciate that, though, South Dakotans. I think it would be wonderful to see some state championships at a hometown team. That's a Montana thing. That's out. All tournaments, one city. You're going to have to go to war with Aberdeen. It's going to be tough because they have the cards, okay? Be careful. And final, this is the one. Can we all agree we need some promotion and relegation based on success factor for high school teams? So if I haven't won games in football for 20 years, can I move down a class? Well, no, your enrollment says you should be better. The enrollment thing's outdated. The enrollment thing doesn't work. Just make it enrollment plus success factor. It's the last thing we need to take from another state. Okay? Let's implement it. Other states are doing this. North Dakota, Indiana. I mean, there's states that do. Based on your success over a cycle, you get moved down a class. Based on your great success, domination, you get moved up a class. Not forever, but it's all part of a cycle. It's not just enrollment. So that's my vote. What do you say? As a matter of fact, that's the number one vote getter tonight. No, it's not. This isn't a rigged deal. I threw it out there honestly. 43% of my audience say move teams up and down in classes based on success. 43%, number one vote getter. One thing to change about South Dakota high school sports. 40% say all tournaments, one location. Out of that 40%, let's see, 39.9 are coming in from Sioux Falls. No, anyway, sorry. I just thought I was digging into the analytics. Number one vote getter. Move teams up and down based on success. I'm with you. I'm fighting the fight. But so far, we're running in. I mean, they've discussed it at the Activity Association. They have. But it hasn't quite. We haven't got over the enrollment thing. We haven't got over. If Rapid City Central went down a class, they would dominate 11 AA. They'd just smoke everybody. Probably not. Probably not. So it would be a lot better for programs. I really believe that. Move up and down a class based on success. Will we ever get it done? James Merilatt stopping in next. DenverSports.com as we get rolling. Can the Nuggets go on a run in OKC? They're up 1-0. James Merilatt next.
This is the Nate Brown.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds. To share, to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
The summer heat will be here soon, but our hot summer savings sale is on now. Get $1,200 off every door and $800 off every window. Plus enjoy no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Get an extra 5% off your entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Hurry, this exclusive offer won't last long. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your windows and doors, so grab these hot savings while you can. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
Being in business has its rewards as well as its challenges. It means being the first one in the door in the morning and turning off the lights when you leave at night. Your business is unique, and you need a bank that understands your needs. You deserve the best. You need a financial partner that is invested in your success. You need Pioneer Bank and Trust. Don't settle. Pioneer. Pioneer Bank and Trust. Local.
Pioneer Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 45. Tonight, under overcast skies, winds out of the north, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Daytime highs approaching 69. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Lows storms Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 58 degrees.
Round 1 of the Rapid City rivalry takes place Tuesday on Fox Sports Rapid City. The Post 22 Hard Hats travel across the parking lot to battle the Post 320 Stars in Legion baseball action at Pete Lean Memorial Field. Join Dean Gurr and me, Jerome Wickersham, for the pregame show at 6:45, followed by the first pitch at 7. The Hard Hats battle the Stars Tuesday night, right here on Fox Sports Rapid City.
Get away from it all in the great outdoors for lasting family memories with a new or pre-owned RV from Dakota Discount RV. We make your RV experience fun and easy by providing you with a quality recreational vehicle, competitive pricing, and professional sales and service. Our large inventory of fifth-wheelers, travel trailers, toy haulers, and live-in horse trailers allows us to save our customers thousands of dollars compared to most dealers. Stop by and see us at Dakota Discount RV, 3330 East Mall Drive across from Cabela's and on JB Road, Blackhawk.
Your sports, your show. From East River to West River, this is South Dakota's sports talk show, The Nate Brown Show.
I caught you guys singing that tonight on your way home right now. You're just belting that out right now. I understand how this goes. I know. You listen for the music on the Nate Brown Show. I understand. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live, Fox Sports Radio. Glad you're here. Thanks for making this show possible. We appreciate it across the state. Let's get James Merilatt on, one of our favorite guests. Denversports.com. Great site. Denversports.com, part of 104.3 The Fan. James, welcome in. How are you?
I'm great, Nate. Appreciate you having me.
All right, man. Let's. I stayed up for this Nuggets game. You have to. I was ready to bag it. I was thinking, yeah, they're down pretty big early. Then they're down the whole time. I was like, it's a 12-point game. I know that's not much in NBA. I didn't think OKC would give it away. What'd you think of the final fourth?
I was shocked by it, and it was sort of one of those games of like I was like you. I was like, all right, this thing gets to 12 points at a timeout, 14 points at a timeout. I'm going to call it, and they just kept hanging around. They'd get it to 8, they'd get it to 7, but they never really seemed until late in the fourth like they were going to make a run and make it close. So I just was preparing myself for all right, good effort. 48 hours after you just beat the Clippers in Game 7, you went out to OKC and hung in there, but, moral victory time. So didn't expect them to have that late rally, didn't expect Oklahoma City to make the mistakes they made late, and the Nuggets took advantage of it. But crazy game when, they led early, but essentially didn't lead until the final 2 or 3 seconds of the game and steal Game 1, and here we go. We got ourselves a series.
Okay, the big thing is people are pointing to the owner getting rid of Michael Malone and the GM. Do you think any of this is happening if that doesn't happen the final week of the season?
I do not. That locker room had gotten toxic. Michael Malone, and I've said this for years, he was the perfect guy to get him from bad to good, even to very good. And I know they won a championship, but to sustain greatness, I just never thought he was the right guy. He's just got a kind of a caustic personality. Had been here a decade-ish. And, at some point when you're that personality, you wear on people, kind of the Jim Harbaugh effect, if you will. And it had just, people had tuned him out. The team had tuned him out. Practices were toxic. In games, it was, the players not listening to him. And now you watch the Nuggets play, and win or lose, they look like the Nuggets used to look. They pass the ball around. It's not just two-man game with Jamal and Jokic all the time. It's find the open guy. It's 7 guys in double figures in Game 7 against the Clippers. The brand of basketball that made us all love watching the Nuggets play. They're back to that, and this sounds corny, and I get it, but the joy seems to be back, and that just wasn't there. It just wasn't. Michael Malone was just wearing on guys. So I think David Adelman's done a great job, and it's freed up Jokic. He's turned into what amounts to a player coach, and he's being more vocal, and it's been a breath of fresh air.
Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, seeing Jokic in the huddles and people are pointing that out, it's like, man, he's talking, he's telling them this, he's got passion. Everyone's like, what's up with Jokic? You're saying Jokic is loosened up there. Malone wouldn't let him do stuff like that?
I don't know if he wouldn't. I think it was a little bit of a, just what's your place, and the longtime coach and the coach that he had since, he came into the league and he wasn't a star at the time. And it's a different dynamic. And I just think he appears freer. I think he feels freer. I think he's just able to be himself. And I don't know if you watched, there's a documentary on Netflix called Courts of Gold, and it follows the Olympic basketball tournament in 2024 in Paris. And then they follow the U.S. and Canada and France, and then they follow the Serbian team. And that's how Jokic was for that team. He was, drawing stuff up on the whiteboard in the locker room during halftime. I mean, it's just who he is. He just didn't do that when Michael Malone was here. So, I don't know that Michael Malone was telling him you can't. I just don't think he felt empowered to do it, and now he does. And he just, he's a great, great player, obviously, but he also just has a great basketball mind, and I think being able to tap into that, a lot of what they did late in that game, especially on the Thunder's last inbounds pass, to force it to where SGA couldn't get the ball, and it had to go to Chet Holmgren, who ended up missing both free throws. That was the brilliance of Jokic to take away SGA with the late double team, and that's what he was telling them in the huddle, and that's just the kind of stuff that, quite frankly, we didn't see out of Michael Malone. He was he was the right guy their championship year to kind of give him some swagger and some moxie, but he was not an X's and O's guy. Watching him in the huddle during games was somewhat laughable. So Jokic has turned into that guy, and I think it's been great.
James Merlant on tonight from DenverSports.com. Nuggets get one in OKC last night. They're up 1-0. So Russell Westbrook, you tell me, James. I'm watching, I'm like, well, that's good. Oh, that's really bad. Now that's good. Does he help or hurt? What's the right play here? He's in late. Is that the right play?
I think it's a game-by-game type of deal, and I think David Adelman said that after one of the games against the Clippers. Might have been game one of, hey, I'm just going to play who's ever playing the best at that point. And Michael Porter Jr. was terrible last night. Not only the 2 points, but the backcourt violation and just some other things. He just, it wasn't his night, and Russ was playing better, so that he was in. And there were games against the Clippers where MPJ was out there. So I think he's just going to play the five guys that are going best. And I mean, he's a roller coaster. It's the Russell Westbrook experience for sure, but he certainly does more good than bad. I think you just got to live with the bad, and the energy he brings and the spark he brings, I think, is vital. And the other piece of it is, Bruce Brown, the year they won the championship, he was kind of that no-nonsense guy. They had a series against the Suns where it was in Denver, and the Suns, it wasn't a timeout, but there was some sort of review or something, and the Suns all got in a huddle and tried to have a quasi timeout, and Bruce Brown just jumped in the middle of it, wouldn't let it happen. He's kind of got that. He's got a little bit of not going to put up with any BS. That's what Westbrook brings him, and you saw it in Game 7. That's a pressure moment. It's some guys aren't ready for it, and he's fearless. And I think having somebody on the team that's fearless is vital. And I think David Adelman's smart enough to know, hey, there's a point where Russ starts being diminishing returns, and you yank him. And that's what he's done, and I think it's been way more positive than negative out of Russell Westbrook during this playoff run, for sure.
I know you wanted to talk Russell Wilson. I understand, James. I know it. By the way, I want to know if the Nuggets, after the win last night, it feels like this is the NBA. Now we got one, we're good. Are they just going to be happy with that? I mean, I worry about that. I don't know if they can go up 2-0 anyway. Okay, she's really good, but I worry about it's going to be 1-1 for sure here.
I mean, I think it's most likely going to be 1-1. I mean, you go in there hoping to steal one, you already got it out of the way, but I think what gives the Nuggets a chance tomorrow, I do think they're a veteran enough team. They learned from last year against Minnesota, man, you can't just, mail in some games and count on winning on your home court, because they lost, 3 times to the Timberwolves last year at Ball Arena. So I think they learned that lesson. And then they're playing with house money tomorrow. The pressure's all on Oklahoma City. If Oklahoma City loses, they ain't beating the Nuggets 4 out of 5 times. They're just not. So Nuggets can go in there loose. And, and just take their shot at it. So if you made me bet on the game, I'm going to take Oklahoma City. Would it shock me if it turned into a bit of a rout? No. But the Nuggets are playing with house money. We'll see how they do with that. But it wouldn't. I don't think they're a team that's going to be satisfied with a 1-1 split. I think they're going to try for the 2-0. I think they're going to show up and give it their best effort. But Oklahoma City's the 1 seed for a reason.
Okay, now after last night, you take one game. Oh, they won it at the buzzer. I asked Jerry Brewer, national writer. He's covered the NBA a long time. I said, can the Nuggets beat OKC? He said they can, but I don't want to take away that from last night. What do you say?
No, I definitely think they can. Heading into the series, I picked the Nuggets in 6. I think Oklahoma City's got a ton of talent, but, we've seen this, and, this is the old guy in me. You go all the way back to the Pistons in the 80s and then the Bulls after them. Like, you kind of have to learn to win in the playoffs. You got to pay your dues. It takes some time. It's very rare that a team just, second year with a group like this, a young group like this, shows up in the playoffs and is able to advance. We saw it with Houston against Golden State, right? The 2 seed against the 7. Golden State's got championship pedigree, and they know how to win in the playoffs. They advance. I think that's what gives the Nuggets, that's what I thought heading into this, gives them a chance. And then watching last night, I mean, Oklahoma City, they don't seem like world beaters to me. I know they had a great record, and I know they're the 1 seed, but, playoff basketball is a different kind of deal, and you don't get the same calls. It's much more physical. Zubac gave Jokic fits in round 1 because he's bigger, and, Holmgren is just a slight guy, and Jokic is able to have his way with him and Hartenstein and that. So I give the Nuggets a great chance to win this series. I thought it going in that they were going to win in 6, and certainly what I saw last night, I'm not going to veer off of that.
One NFL draft question. Did the Giants make a mistake by not going Shedeur?
I think a lot of teams made a mistake by not going Shedeur. I think he's going to be a very good pro. I don't know that he's going to be great, but he will be the starter in Cleveland sooner rather than later, and he is going to be a steal. As a 5th-round pick, you get a starting quarterback. That doesn't happen very often. The Giants certainly should have gone that direction, but a lot of teams made a mistake by passing on him. Okay,
you say that. Why? You've seen him up close. People say, oh, man, not mobile. He's going to tap the ball, maybe not the quickest release. Why do you say Shedeur's going to be good enough?
Well, I mean, I think the not mobile thing, it's like, is he Lamar Jackson? No. Is he as mobile as what we saw this year out of Bo Nix? Certainly. So he can move around, he can make some plays. He's got the arm to make every throw there is. And then there's the it factor. Certain guys have it, certain guys don't. And, whether it's the Hail Mary to win games, whether it's just late heroics against CSU, his first year in Boulder, like, some guys are ready for the moment and some guys aren't. I think he's got the physical tools. I think he's got the makeup for it. And, I think the knocks on him were, I just thought they got out of hand over the draft weekend, obviously, when he slips that far. But, no, that guy's got all the physical tools, and he has all the tools from the neck up. So I think he's going to be a very good pro.
James Merilatt on tonight. Great breakdown. DenverSports.com for the best coverage. Nuggets, OKC, Game 2 tomorrow. James, good to have you, man. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Nate.
Appreciate you. James Merilatt on X. Follow him if you're not, at James Merilatt, and DenverSports.com. You can do some battle with James Merilatt on X. It's fun. He enjoys it. Okay? He enjoys it. All right. He says Shedeur Sanders is going to be a very good pro. I like that. He's got the it factor. There's guys that have it. There's guys that don't. And sorry to tell you, Jackson Dart doesn't. Hate to break it to you, Dylan Gabriel doesn't. Shedeur has the it factor. All right. I love it. Gary Sharp's on next on the Nate Brown Show. We move to the Huskers. Does Dylan Raiola have the it factor to revive the Huskers? A big-time prospect. Can he not just be okay? Gary Sharp, 1620 The Zone on Husker spring football and where they stand next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show.
There's nothing like it. Not for hundreds of miles in any direction. A gathering space for all kinds of people from all kinds of backgrounds to share to revel, to stand together and celebrate life's greatest moments.
We are number one, so you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
The summer heat will be here soon, but our hot summer savings sale is on now. Get $1,200 off every door and $800 off every window. Plus enjoy no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. Get an extra 5% off your entire project if purchased on initial consultation. Hurry, this exclusive offer won't last long. Now is the perfect time to upgrade your windows and doors, so grab these hot savings while you can. Call today or visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
Exclusive home of the Roaring Ridges Jackpot. Just be actively playing your favorite slot machine with your club card engaged for your chance to win. The Roaring Ridges Jackpot starts at $7,500 and must hit by $10,000. Plus, you can keep up to the minute on the current Roaring Ridges total on your Cadillac Jacks mobile app. Roaring Ridges has already paid out $2 million. Anyone at any time on any spin. You could be the next to win. Only at Cadillac Jacks Gaming Resort.
Ready to be part of something big? Meet the Rapid City Sports Commission, the powerhouse behind sports in Rapid City. The commission focuses on bringing regional and national tournaments, supporting homegrown events, and creating opportunities for our kids. But it's not just games, it's a win-win for all of us. Youth sports fuel our economy. Hosting events in Rapid City means out-of-town families shop, dine, and stay with us, which boosts sales tax revenues too. To get in on the action, visit rcsportscommission.com, where we're all about the hustle.
Hi, this is Jeremy with Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, inviting you to kickstart your morning by dropping by and grabbing some fresh donuts. I want to thank you for voting us the best in the Black Hills. We're up early making your favorite donuts, so stop by and bring some to the office. Everybody loves Jerry's Cakes and Donuts, and we love you, so stop by, get a great selection to brighten up your day. Serving Rapid City for over 40 years, Jerry's Cakes and Donuts at 109 East Omaha, and remember to like Jerry's on Facebook for some great giveaways.
Looks like winter is losing its grip and we are headed for warmer weather to come. How did your car make it through the winter? Hi, this is Martin from Al's D&I Repair. Winter is hard on your car, especially on the components underneath. The sand and chemicals that make winter driving safer can affect the brakes, chassis, and exhaust parts. While you have your car in for routine maintenance, we'll inspect your car to make sure you are set for spring and summer travels.
Al's D&I Repair on Sturgis Road. Call 348-1447 to set up your appointment.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show, also streaming right now on X. Follow us and watch the show live at Nate Brown Show.
That is right. You can watch the show live every afternoon on X at Nate Brown Show. Follow the show and watch us live. Answer our questions of the day. All the good stuff. We check our Twitter account throughout the show. Interact with us there at Nate Brown Show on Twitter. If you miss some of the show each day, you can't catch every 2 hours of the show. I understand. It's hard to do. Life, man. Life. Go to the Nate Brown Show podcast. Every show's there. Search the Nate Brown Show wherever you get your podcast, and then you've got us there while you're mowing the lawn, whatever, walking the dog. We have a great listener who walks the dog in the morning. He listens to the show. I like that. It's a fast walk. It's an aggressive walk when he listens. We get him going. Download it, the Nate Brown Show podcast, Apple, Spotify, Amazon. We're on all the platforms. Search for it. Gary Sharp's on tonight. I'm getting ready to go to Omaha here next weekend. What's Gary? Are we going to go out to eat steak or what? 1620 The Zone. He is on every morning in Omaha. Gary, how are you?
Good. That's great news. Now, what will bring you to Omaha next week?
Well, we got big soccer tournament. Big soccer tournament, Gary. So get ready. We're going to be on the pitch, and I'm just going to be low key. You're not going to find me. I'm going to be hard to find. Okay.
Now, are you rate yourself as a sports dad?
Well, that's interesting. I'm a sports coach, so I'm a dad coach for basketball. Hard to coach my kids there, but I do the best I can. They get yelled at a lot. I don't yell at a lot of the other kids, so is that okay? I mean, I'm okay. And then when I'm just watching, I'm pretty good. My daughter's a ref, so I kind of learn along the way. Don't be a moron.
Well, you know what? We'll be glad to have you next week here in Omaha, where it's supposed to be into the 80s. So, look forward. You know what? We have spent many years just conversing via text and phone. Hit me up next week.
Okay, I'll shoot you, man. We're going to be running. Let me ask you. Speaking of Nebraska, so I have a question of the day. What should South Dakota steal from another state for high school sports? And I have some options. One is all state tournaments, one city. Does Nebraska love that setup?
Yes, and it's in Lincoln. It's been in Lincoln for, seems like, ever. One thing they did, now, they have a lot more classes in Nebraska, ridiculously, compared to South Dakota. But they used to, it used to only be a 3-day tournament. It would start on Thursday, so they play Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And the lower classes, which are like level D, which is the lowest class. We have A, B, C, and D here for high school basketball. They would play in high school gyms in Lincoln. And then they finally changed the tournament where they started on Wednesday and go Wednesday through Saturday, and everybody either plays in the Devaney Center where Nebraska volleyball plays, or they play at Pinnacle Bank Arena where Nebraska basketball plays. So it's people here love it. I mean, you can go to Lincoln. It's a long drive, as you know, from in South Dakota. Some people have to drive a long way. They like going to Lincoln. I think a one-site state tournament is ideal. I know that whenever I'm up there for the Summit League in Sioux Falls, I always ask, why is it spread out? Why is it 1 year in Sioux Falls? Why is it out in Rapid City? Rapid City does a great job. Why don't they just have the whole tournament? So that's one thing I hope in South Dakota you're able to do, is to get the state tournament in one place.
Okay, but how do you deal with everybody that cries about playing at 10 a.m. on a Friday?
Well, that's one thing you have to deal with. And the thing they've done here is even some of the bigger schools play early in the morning. I just think you have to deal with it. I think at the end of the day, if you have a great venue that gives kids, it makes it a big deal for kids to be in the state tournament. It's a nice arena. They're treated well. There's good hotels. There's enough to do when you're not playing, places to go eat. I think you could play. And I think kids in the state tournament, they've made it that far. They'll play at 7 in the morning if they have to.
All right. Good stuff on that. I wanted you to read. Okay, let's go to Husker football. Spring football's in the books. I saw a lot of national guys doing some stuff on this. So I thought, I want to get geared. The question that was asked on a national podcast I was listening to, is Dylan Raiola going to take the next step? He was a freshman. We gave him he did a good job here and there, but really, he's just a freshman. That's what we heard. What are we expecting from Raiola now?
Well, I think you're going to see natural growth from year 1 to year 2. He has a full off-season with his offensive coordinator and Dana Holgerson. Matt Rule at the end of spring ball said he's 10 steps ahead. I think he's a lot more confident. I think he'll be a smarter quarterback. I think some of the things and you watch enough Nebraska football, Nate, there were times where he just didn't make smart plays, and whether it be running, like, sliding before a first down when he could have clearly had a first down. The clock in his head in the pocket, maybe some decisions of, in high school I got a big boy arm, I can throw a 50-50 ball and I'm going to be able to complete it. Well, that's not going to happen in college. So I think those little things that he's improved on. But I think one thing, they built the offense where it's not going to be all Dylan Raiola. It's going to be, we have a better offensive line. We went out and we spent money on an Alabama tackle and a Notre Dame guard to help you up front. Then we went out and we improved your wide receiver room. So I think you'll see a natural growth. And, the one thing, Nebraska needs him to grow. And if he can take a bigger step than just natural growth, then Nebraska's looking at, maybe a 9-win season where in the Big Ten, if you're 9-3 and you go 6-3 in your conference, or maybe even 7-2, you're going to be considered for the playoffs. So I think they're probably a year away from playoff consideration, but I think a lot of people are expecting him to make a jump that helps this offense grow, because the defense is going to be a little bit newer this year, and so they're going to need that offense to put up more points than they put up last year.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I'm like, how good does this offense need to be? Because people say, well, they've had a great defense here. The offense, we haven't seen explosive for a long time. Can it be that?
Yeah, that's the big question, especially at running back. Emmett Johnson, who was the number one running back last year, is still the number one running back. But he's not a guy that's going to break away from people. It's really weird. We've talked a lot about this on my show, because Nebraska just got the number 3 quarterback in the country for the class of 27, is that Nebraska football, of all places, have done a better job in the last few years recruiting quarterbacks than they have running backs. And these used to be a place in the 90s that was IBAQ, and then you had Rex Burkhead and Amir Abdullah and Roy Halou together. So to be explosive, they'll have the wide receivers. Do they have the running game? Because there's questions about the depth behind Emmett Johnson. They went hard after Marty Brown, who is an Omaha kid who was transferring from North Dakota State. He ended up at Miami. But they need to put up points. And I think one of the focuses this spring, Nate, has been they worked on red zone offense, thinking, you know what, we're going to be good between the 20s, but when we get into the red zone, we need to put the ball in the end zone. And it's not only scoring touchdowns. They just went out and added last week to their kicker room. They have 3 kickers in their 105 roster. They got a transfer from Cal, so they're looking to put up points. They don't want to leave any stone unturned.
Okay, Gary Sharp on tonight. His show's on 1620 The Zone, great station out of Omaha. I'm thinking about this. When you think about Nebraska, that quarterback you mentioned, there was some pushback on that prospect. He did a thing where he unveiled where he was going to go. He did Illinois first, and then he threw that away, and he did Nebraska. And then he had to apologize about it. What do you make of that whole thing? Was that a bad look?
Well, his name is Trey Taylor. He's from Chicago. He's in the class of 27, committed last week to Nebraska. He did the whole hat ceremony. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I get it. It's fun. It's theater. You get to do it one time as a player. My thing I didn't like is that he mouthed that I'm going to Illinois. And Illinois had been at his high school the day before, and he's an in-state kid, and they recruited him. I will say this, I didn't like that, but I loved his response, because he got a lot of pushback from Illinois fans and from other people, and so he went and apologized, and even his parents said, you know what, this is a learning lesson. He just made a mistake. He'll learn from it, won't do it again. He's not this kind of kid. And I think that told me a lot about what Nebraska down the road is going to get. But I will tell you a story. This hat, we see the hat ceremony where people put on the hat and then they throw it away. One of the best stories surrounding Nebraska football is Emmitt Smith. So Nebraska and Florida were the finalists for Emmitt Smith. And Emmitt Smith told all of his friends that on the signing day, when he showed up for his high school signing day in Florida, that whatever color he was wearing, that's where he was going to school. He wore red all day.
Oh.
Everybody's like, oh, he's going to Nebraska. He went to his ceremony and took off his red jacket, and he had Florida gear on and put on a Florida hat. So, people swerve. It's whole part of the process. But I think Trey will learn from, just what he did and then the reaction. But he's a good kid, and that's a big pickup for Nebraska.
Gary Sharp on tonight. Huskers getting Raiola, massive quarterback prospect, now entering year 2. Now another top 3 QB prospect for 2027 out of Illinois. Listen to him in Omaha, 1620 The Zone. I'm going to check him out. I'm going to be going next weekend, man. Appreciate you, Gary. Thanks a lot.
Hey, Nate, always appreciate being on, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Appreciate that. Gary Sharp tonight from 1620 The Zone. Great sports station in Omaha. Gary's on each morning. Who's hot and who's not? Let's roll with it. Not great news from the Kentucky Derby, and great news with an Arizona State college football coach. This is wild. Next.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
How do you make a buffet day even better? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade is your place for good food and good times. Won the big game? Make it a play day. Aced your test? Make it a play day. Just need to get out of the house? Make it a play day. The Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade has all your favorites and all kinds of fun. So bring your family, bring your friends, bring your team. For good food and good times, make it a buffet day and a play day at the Pizza Ranch and Fun Zone Arcade.
I was the cool dad. My kids wanted me to take them to the mall. I didn't think anything about doing it in front of them, even though I knew it was illegal. Then my oldest started driving. Like father, like son. Gotta read that text right now. But he took a life. And now his is shattered, too.
Addiction has many faces. Texting and driving when you know it's life-threatening and illegal can be one of them. Take back control. Put the phone down.
Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, the South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Attention! Attention, Rapid City! More big news from Gateway Autoplex. We are expanding our services with our brand new state-of-the-art auto repair shop located right behind our lot, 123 Omaha Street. Gateway Tire and Alignment. That's right, Rapid City. We're now your one-stop shop for everything auto-related. From routine maintenance to major repairs, our team of expert technicians has you covered. Plus, with our state-of-the-art equipment, you can trust that your vehicle is in the best possible hands. Visit Gateway Tire and Alignment and see why nobody beats a Gateway deal.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows around 45. Tonight, under overcast skies, winds out of the north 5 to 10 miles per hour. Daytime highs approaching 69. Tomorrow, sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Lows around 48. Tomorrow night, partly cloudy skies. Warmer Thursday and Friday with highs in the upper 70s. Chance for storms Friday. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Right now, it's 58 degrees.
Great news! I just got the State Farm Personal Price Plan on our home and auto insurance.
You told our agent about my thing for romance novels?
No, you don't have to get that personal. Our agent just helped me choose affordable options to create a personalized price, just for us.
Oh, sweet. Then you won't believe the love triangle Jen is in now.
Contact me, State Farm agent Scott Carlson, to create your personal price plan today.
Prices vary by state. Options selected by customer. Availability and eligibility may vary.
We're talking with Britt Wickett at Elevate Performance Physical Therapy for an Elevate Performance Health Minute. Britt, one of the injuries we hear a lot about in sports, an ACL tear. You can't prevent all injuries, but good sports performance training could help.
Yeah, Nate, one of the things that a lot of good sports performance training focuses on is trying to not only prepare athletes for the field of sport, but also try to mitigate their risk to sustain an injury. Unfortunately, things happen in sport. If anybody ever does experience an ACL tear, that results in needing surgery to fix that, it's important to have a therapist on your side who can help them through prehab, rehab, and then return to sport. It's a marathon, not a sprint. It takes a long time to get back to the field of sport, but it's not impossible to do it all by any means. So just having that end goal in mind can be really beneficial for the rehab process.
When it comes to ACLs and sports performance training and treatment, get started at elevateperformancesd.com.
From high school to college to the pros, from Rapid City to Sioux Falls, the Nate Brown Show is South Dakota's sports talk show.
All right, let's do this. Who's hot and who's not on the Nate Brown Show every night at this time? Brought to you by the Pizza Ranch, home of everyone's favorite buffet, the Pizza Ranch. Tonight, in my Who's Hot category, Arizona State head football coach Kenny Dillingham donating his bonus, it's a big bonus, to charity. He said, I'm going to donate this to charity. You don't see that very often. College football coaches make money. He's going to donate his bonus to charity. Good work by the Arizona State coach. In our Pizza Ranch Who's Not tonight, no Triple Crown winner, the Kentucky Derby winner Sovereignty, not going to compete in the Preakness May 17th. Bill Mott, the trainer from Mobridge, South Dakota. I want to see the horse try it. Not going to do it. Thanks for listening to the Nate Brown Show, the podcast going up right now. See you tomorrow.
My reason why is community.
My reason why is leadership.
My reason why is to inspire others.